There will be another FOMC meeting in 3 days, and historically speaking, this is a huge moment for Bitcoin because every single time the FOMC meeting happens, Bitcoin tends to create either a huge move towards the upside, and for all the other times, Bitcoin created a massive dump towards the downside. So will history repeat? I will talk about this super important bounce we got earlier today and many more important charts we need to discuss in order to predict the next big Bitcoin move. So without any further ado, don't forget to slap up the like button on today's update video. And with that being said, let me jump straight away in towards the imminent short term for Bitcoin. And looking at the imminent short term, we can once again see that 29.6k, that level where I've been talking about many times before, is once again providing support on the lower side of Bitcoin. You can currently clearly see we've already seen more than 4 retested of this level, and every single time once we test this level, we tend to be bouncing from it. Be aware it's weekend, and I don't like to see moves happening over the course of the weekend, but next week we're going to be having the FOMC meeting. So next week I expect volatility is going to really pick up, because looking at Bitcoin here, of course, on the 4-hourly time frame, we can clearly still see we're trading on support, and really if we do break below 29.6k, that could be a sign of worry, because then Bitcoin is breaking below the most important level of support. But as long as we're not doing that, I don't really see a reason to panic, because as long as we do hold support, I won't be shorting support. And of course, if we break support, that is the point where I should start to become bearish, because then we're breaking, of course, below support. So you can clearly see it on the daily time frame. Bitcoin is so far still trading above support, but as soon as we confirm the break below, the next target on the lower side is 28,000 US dollars. But for now, I do not see a reason to really start to become bearish. Of course, in 3 days from now on, we're going to have the next FOMC meeting, and if we're looking at the data from all the previous FOMC meetings, we can see that basically every single time we got an FOMC meeting, Bitcoin ultimately dumped towards the downside. But the last time around, Bitcoin had a significant rally towards the upside after the FOMC meeting. So something has clearly changed. Of course, what we know, in the last meeting, they decided to not hike any interest rates at all. And I can tell you already, in the upcoming meeting that is going to be happening in 3 days from now on, we're going to see one more interest rate hike happening. And it's going to be a 99.2% likelihood it's going to be happening. So we're basically 100% certain this one is going to be happening. But this one is definitely different than other ones, because if I am right now going to be looking at the probabilities of the interest rate hikes in the future and where we're going to stand in the future, we are right now expecting that we're probably going to sit around this level of 550 basis points for another approximately 4 to 5 months till the beginning of 2024. And once we're going to be having the first meeting in 2024, we're going to be starting to see that they're going to start to cut the rates here. And that is actually the forecast what we're having right now. So this is forecasted to be the last interest rate hike in the US, and that makes this hike definitely very much different than the other ones in the past. And that could maybe once again cause the markets to actually pump towards the upside rather than dump towards the downside like it had in the past, because in the past we didn't had so much certainty in the market. Of course, I can't predict this with 100% certainty, because it also really matters about what Jerome Powell is going to be saying. So that is why you should be subscribing to the channel right now, because I will be live streaming this event once Jerome Powell is going to start talking about the markets, and we will see what he has got to say about it. So yes, that is one thing for sure. Once the FOMC meeting comes, volatility is most likely going to pick up, because yes, historically speaking, it really indicated that. And together with that, we can currently see that the Bollinger Bands is literally trading at all-time lows here, what also makes up for a perfect ingredient for an even bigger move for Bitcoin. And we can currently see Bitcoin, its volume is also dropping on the daily time frame. Bitcoin is becoming more and more boring on the daily time frame, because it's just not moving at all here. So yes, we can clearly start to see the Bitcoin price action is becoming more and more boring, and this is making up the perfect ingredient for an even bigger move for the Bitcoin price action. Of course, I'm still long here on the BYBIT exchange here, and yes, this is a very small trade, but I believe that I've got a very good entry, since I'm literally longing the very important support. And of course, if we break below the support, I'm going to exit my position. On BitGet, I've got a bigger trade here, but my entry price was around $25,000, so the entry was way better, and that is why I'm also making way more profit. But I will continue to hold this trade here, even though Bitcoin breaks down to 28,000 US dollars. And of course, if you want to be joined joining me with my trade here on BYBIT, you can do so right now here, and actually you can right now claim a free $1,000 Bitcoin position. All you need to do here is go to the link description, sign up a new account on BYBIT, press on the link where you can see claim your free $1,000. All you need to do is deposit $100 within 7 days, and you can claim a free $1,000 Bitcoin long or short position. You can also claim it in XRP, but I prefer to do it in Bitcoin at the moment. So that is definitely super valuable for everyone out there, and it's only valid for another 13 days right here. So like everyone probably already know, because yes, the value of Bitcoin is correlated against the dollar. So if the dollar index moves down, it's super bullish for Bitcoin. And currently we can see the dollar index had a small little bounce towards the upside, but actually it is retesting this super important resistance, and personally I expect we're going to see probably a very big bounce happening from off this level. Usually if we're going to be looking at interest rate hike decisions, we can actually see that the majority of the times the dollar index tends to be moving up here. You can see here it moved towards the upside, here it moved towards the upside, but this was the point where they were still hiking the interest rates. And right now we're at the point that this is probably the last interest rate hike, so that could be maybe meaning that we're going to be moving down this time around here. So let's see what's going to be happening. Last meeting as well, they were passing the interest rates, they were also dumping significantly towards the downside. So personally I will be expecting something very similar could be happening again here. So yes, the dollar index, very important to pay attention towards because it's inverse correlated with Bitcoin. And zooming out on Bitcoin on the bigger perspective, we do know as soon as we do break up the $32,000, that is the point where the next bull market is really going to be starting to happen. Of course, we have to be very patient and time is on our side, but I personally think it's going to be happening eventually. And once it does happen, once we do break above that $32,000, I personally think we could start to go exponential again. And my price targets are around $40,000 to $42,000. Then, of course, a thing that I really need to discuss here with everyone out there on the channel, I think it's the most important chart to be looking at here. And let me zoom out here to 2014. This is the chart where you can see the Bitcoin balance on exchanges. And you can see that this time around, it's definitely different. In the last bear market of 2018, 2019, we saw that more and more Bitcoin were still coming towards exchanges. However, this time around, even though it's a bear market, we can see less and less available supply on exchanges. And to be very clear, we still got an approximately 2.2 million Bitcoin on exchanges, what means that 2.2 million Bitcoin is available to be buying from exchanges. However, as time continues, as we can see this trend continue, there's going to be less and less Bitcoin available to be buying, and that will be creating a great supply shock. And of course, right now, maybe you don't really feel it yet, but once the Bitcoin availability goes down significantly, let's say this chart over 4 to 5 years, of course, also the halving is going to occur, so there's going to be less supply entering the market. There's going to be a huge supply shock for Bitcoin. So take this in account. Bitcoin is not a short-term investment, it's a long-term investment. And if you play the long game, I'm very, very, very convinced you could be winning on this game. And that is why I'm going to be winning every single time, because I play the long game. I invest not for tomorrow, not for the day after, but I invest for the next decade, because then you're going to be assuring you're going to be making a significant amount of wealth. For me, maybe it's easy to talk because I'm still very young. For me, it's maybe easier to talk about this since I'm still very young, and that is why my future could be brighter by investing and holding in Bitcoin. And if you're, of course, already 70 or 80 years old, it doesn't really make sense to invest for 10 years. But if you're young like me, if you're below 40 or below 50, in my opinion, I think investing in Bitcoin is a very good way to store your wealth and create more wealth in the future. So yeah, that was it for me in today's update video. Of course, Bitcoin looks to be getting ready for a bigger move in the future anytime soon here with the FOMC meeting coming up here. So 3 more days we have to wait, and we'll be streaming this event. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.